I want to stop working in my 40s, not to retire and do nothing at all, but have the choice of whether or not I work. And the way that I'm getting there isn't a trust fund or a lucky investment. It's about being really intentional about where my money goes every single day. So in this video, I'm going to share the exact habits that have made the biggest difference for me. Habit number 1 is cooking from home 90% of the time. This is cooking from scratch and not buying pre-prepared food or pre-prepared vegetables, for example. Anything that provides convenience will cost more. And yes, I have done it in the past and I might do it in the future, but at the moment I cook everything from scratch from their whole food form. Eating out is a luxury for us, and we go out on special occasions or when we are traveling. Staying on the topic of food, habit number 2 is how I shop. I shop around for the quality and price of food that matches our values. I look at every price before I commit, and I try to buy food on discount when I can. If I find something that is on discount, I'll buy 2 of them and stick them in the cupboard or the freezer. When it comes to fresh food, I buy what I need and I know I'm going to be able to use in a few days or within a week. It sounds very boring, but we meal plan repeatedly on purpose. Usually I will think about what we're going to eat from Sunday to Thursday on a Sunday. I will check the food cupboards and the freezer and the fridge, see what I don't have, and just go and buy those things for those specific meals. I don't buy things that I don't need for those meals because otherwise I'm going to forget about them and not use them and they're going to go bad. In fact, it absolutely kills my husband and I when we have to throw food away, so we really try to avoid it. If we have any leftovers, we make sure to prioritize them and not choose something nicer because we feel like it on the day. We stick to the plan wholeheartedly. I drink tap water most of the time. I don't drink soda or juice, and I don't add flavor drops to my water either. I do on occasion have a glass of wine or an alcoholic drink, but most of the time I don't drink alcohol. I can pretty much count how many times I drink alcohol on one hand in a whole year, and that on its own is a huge saving. I make my coffee from home, and I even make my own almond milk, which may sound completely ridiculous, but it isn't full of additives and preservatives, and it's actually really cheap to make. Number 4, moving on to utilities. I don't use a heater in winter. I use a blanket and a hot water bottle, which I fill up maybe once or twice a day, and that electricity to boil the water is a lot less than running the AC for many hours during the day. I don't live where I have to keep my heat on because it doesn't get that cold. We only use the air conditioner in summer when we absolutely cannot cope. If we can't get a breeze by opening the doors on either side of the apartment, then we'll put that on. But thankfully we live near the coast, so most days we can get a breeze. I switch off all the lights in rooms that I'm not in, and I unplug appliances when they're not being used for the most part. And I dry our clothes outside in the sunshine. I only run our dishwasher when it is mostly full or completely full. This saves on electricity and water. Number 5 is all about shopping, and first I'm going to speak about shopping in general. If one of us wants to buy something, my husband and I always chat about it first. We discuss whether or not we actually need the item, whether we can afford it or not, and whether we can maybe wait for it to go on sale. And I'm referring to like fairly big purchases here. I'm not talking about buying apples at the grocery store. I often make a wish list of things that I might want to buy. Most of the time, I put it on the list and I forget that it's even there. If I think about it as much as a few times every week repeatedly, then I will consider purchasing the item. But it's not on a whim. It's because we know that that item will bring us some kind of value for the hard-earned money that we paid for it. Shopping as a hobby. I used to shop for entertainment, but I don't anymore. I'm definitely not saying that I don't shop, but when I do go to the mall, I now have a very specific reason for going, and I don't just go to browse. For a long time, I've told myself that if I didn't know it exists, I'll never know that I needed or wanted the thing in the first place. And this really sits true for me. If I go browsing, I will inevitably find something that I would really like. And then we have online shopping. I know that online shopping is so incredibly easy. They've built it that way. And I too have fallen victim on occasion. Some ideas to distance yourself from online shopping are to delete the apps off your phone for the brands that you've downloaded, and to go into your emails and unsubscribe from the brand's emails or newsletters if you have got them in your inbox. If there are certain websites that you really like scrolling and buying things on, try not to open those tabs in the first place. And this brings me to my next point, the world of marketing. I'm no sales or marketing genius, but I know that we are always being tempted to part with our money, to buy the newest fashion, fragrance, beauty product, or upgrade to make our lives better. You need to know the difference between that new shiny thing and what you actually need in your life. More often than not, these things land up filling up your home and becoming a pain or a burden with all the stuff around you. Stuff that we then have to organize, keep clean, and care for. If you have overconsumed enough times in your life, or perhaps you've moved a few times and realized how much junk you had to get rid of when you did move, hopefully that made you feel the impact physically and emotionally. You will start to learn where your money values lie and how to decide what is worth it to you and what isn't. Which brings me to my final point, which is quality first, always. Buying quality rather than cheap multiple times is likely to be the better investment. I always think about what I'm buying, what it's made of, where it came from. I read reviews and I look at the thing for what the value is that I'm going to get out of that product. I will choose quality every single time, and the longer that item lasts, the better, so that I don't have to replace it again. The next habit is around transport. We walk most of the time. We do have a car, but we hardly use it. We use it for long distance travel and for trips to the beach. Otherwise, we walk everywhere. Not only is it healthier for us, but it's free. When we do need to fill our car with petrol, we use a special app that tells us where we will get the best price for petrol at the closest station to us. And if it's worth it, we'll travel to that station specifically to top up. You can generally find these kinds of apps in most places. The next topic is housing. This is very often a household's most expensive bill every month. And we have really tried to keep this low, especially when we first moved in together. When I moved out of my parents' house and into an apartment with my now husband, we lived in an affordable one-bedroom apartment, and we lived there for 12 years. We loved our home and where it was located. By not upgrading to a bigger place or house, we saved so much money in our early 20s and 30s. I remember the sacrifice that we made during this time, and I can tell you now, sitting where we are today, it was well worth it. The next habit that I use is tracking my spending and having a budget. This allows me to see where my money is going with every single purchase we make, and not to forget to cancel anything like a subscription or a recurring transaction. Having eyes on your money is important when you are trying to get the most out of it. Controlling your money and not letting your money control you. You don't need to be obsessive and spend hours a day looking at what's been going on with your transactions. You should be able to sit down maybe once a week or once a month to track everything that you've spent, reflect on that, and decide whether or not you want to tweak anything moving forward. You can generally see what kind of debits are coming up through your banking app or your internet banking. This really gives you a good idea of where your money's going, where it's going to go, and what you need to prioritize. The next is bills on auto renew. And this ties into the one before, but I wanted to point it out specifically. Knowing how much you pay for your subscriptions and services is really important, because sometimes you can realize that you're paying for something that you actually don't use anymore and cancel it. Or you know that maybe a specific type of insurance is going to be paid in the next couple of months that you pay only once a year, like perhaps car insurance in some countries. And you could shop around for a better deal. If you know when it's going to come off, you have some time to do research, see what they're offering, and perhaps switch. This does create a little bit of extra admin, but it may be worth it in the long run if they are hiking up the price of your insurance a great deal for the next upcoming payment. If you too are trying to save more, I hope you found something in this video valuable, and if you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button so that you can see more content like this. I practiced a lot of these frugal tips and habits while I was doing my no spend, low spend in February this year. If you want to see how I did this practically, watch this video next.